This year's big adventure takes us on some of the windiest and most inspiring roads I've ridden. We'll be taking the Wild Atlantic Way from the southeastern coast of Ireland along its beautiful west coast to Galway, taking in some breathtaking views on the Ring of Kerry and the Cahar Pass. This trip to Ireland is also about the people you meet along the journey, who are wide and varied to say the least, but most of all, friendly and welcoming. In the 8 days of the journey, we take a number of pit stops in some beautiful biker-friendly towns. We experienced the best weather Ireland has had in September for a long time, with only a couple of minor hiccups en route. It's stupid o'clock in the morning, and Colin, Judy, Amanda and I get our gear ready for the 270-mile ride to Pembroke Ferry Terminal. Panniers, top box and tank bag packed, we're ready for the 8-hour journey.
Last night as I lay dreaming of pleasant days back home, my mind went on rambling to Ireland.
We can't hang around, so it's motorway all the way, with the odd stop in some familiar old haunts. The Oasis snack bar is tucked away in the bus stop in Abergavenny and is a regular motorcycle stop, as we found out on our Black Mountain tour earlier this year.
On the 23rd of June, the day before the fair,
after a long day's ride, we've finally made it to the ferry.
The brave and the bold, their duties to fulfill at the parish church.
And once on board, we settle down for the 4-hour crossing.
I went to see neighbours to see what they might say. The old ones were all dead and gone.
It's at this point that we were thankful for the decent weather on the ride down, as we expected September in Ireland to be on the damp side.
Sure used to make me bread just when I lived in Spans.
Time to relax, enjoy Ireland's most famous brew, and take in the views as we say goodbye to Wales. 4 hours of calm, tranquil seas, and we're ready for a short ride to our first hotel. First casualty of the trip were the baffles in my brand new Delcovic exhaust falling out. No baffles today. It made the bike sound great. But what my neighbours will think when I go to work at 6 every morning may mean a repair is required. We were due to head for Killarney, stopping in Cork on the way. However, locals have advised to visit a town further south and spend the night there.
By the gasworks wall, I dreamed a dream by the old canal. I kissed my girl.
We set off from Rosslare and make our way to Kinsale, with a pit stop in Cork on the way. Cork is Ireland's second largest city, built on the River Lee. Unfortunately, we can't stay long. We're interested in visiting the smaller towns and soaking up their atmosphere. A short hop from Cork brings us into Kinsale, our first night with no predetermined place to stay, so the first job is to find a B&B. The White House pub and restaurant welcomed us with open arms and gave us a chance to take in the beauty of this lovely seaside town. Aggie, the receptionist, waitress, barmaid and tour guide looked after us. Have to say, the steak at the White House was one of the best I've ever had. The Guinness wasn't bad either. Day 3, and Aggie, along with a few other locals, reckoned we would prefer an overnight stop in Kenmare rather than Killarney. It was on the way, so we decided to take a look.
I am bound for California, a place that you know right well. So fare thee on, me own true love, and I return united we will be. It's not the leave of Liverpool that grieves me.
Stopping in Bantry gave us the opportunity to soak up the sun and pray the weather stayed like this for a few more days.
The Davy Crockett is her name, and the captain's name is Burgess, and they say that she's afloat in hell. So fare thee well, me own true love, when I return united we will be.
It was nice to see the locals in Kinsale were right. Kenmare was a smashing place to stop over. We had no problem in finding accommodation. Not just a B&B, but a chalet for 2 couples at a great rate. We met some interesting people, including the balladeer. It's his music you've been listening to. Day 4 and time to do the Ring of Kerry. We booked an extra night in Kenmare and set off on the 111-mile ride.
What Captain Farrell onto some money he was counting. First produce me blessing, then produce me radio.
This is a fantastic, mystical and unspoilt part of Ireland. Its winding roads are popular with tourists, so not roads to open your throttle and test yourself. But that said, who'd want to? You'd miss the view.
A chuckle of his money and it made a pretty penny. Put it in me pocket and I brought it home to Jenny. She sighed and she swore that she never...
Just before going into the mountains and taking the Cahar Pass, we rest to admire the view. Still no rain on the Emerald Isle, but no one's complaining. Looking out over the North Atlantic Sea, it's hard to believe we're in Ireland in September. It's 25 degrees and we're not wearing shorts or t-shirts.
I took a lot of some money and it made a pretty penny. Put it in me pocket and I brought it home to Jenny. She sighed and she swore that she never would deceive me. The devil take that woman, for you know she tricked me easy with your ring da ma do da ma da. Back ball my daddy-o, back ball my daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar.
A few more miles and we've made it to the mountains, where we stop to take in the breathtaking views. This is the Cahar Pass, which winds up the Kerry Mountains and through tunnels cut from the mountain stone, heading towards Glengarriff. The views from here must be some of the finest in Ireland, looking over storm-bashed mountainous coast onto the velvety green hillside. We couldn't have picked a better time to experience this ride, though some of us still found time for a kip. Stopping off for lunch in Killarney, we thought we were near the end of the ride. How wrong were we? Killarney National Park, here we come.
Well, the only one that'll aid me is my brother in the army. Don't know if he's stationed in Cork or in Killarney. If I could meet him, we'd go roving in Kilkenny. You know he'd treat me better than me on the sporting Johnny. Would you ring on my do-da-ma-la? Back home, my daddy-o. Back home, my daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar.
Safely back in Kenmare, we take time to chill for our second night there. Tonight is steak and Guinness night in O'Donovan's. Well, it's not, but that's what I'm having.
Hey.
It's Jack. There's no one in there.
Have you seen American the way he's tearing it up?
Seafood
You've had quite enough muscles for one trip.
We met loads of interesting people en route. Isn't that you, McGregor?
To do it.
Keep your eyes well peeled today. The excisemen, they're on their way, searching for the mountain tay in the hills of Panama. Rattle up the pots and mountain
You like a bit of pussycat, don't you?
As much as we loved Kenmare, it was time to press on. Again, locals chose our next destination, and we set sail for Dingle.
is sinking all the westward. The fleet is leaving Dingle shore.
The R561 took us along the coast, past Castlemaine Harbour and down to Dingle.
As they mark the fishing grounds near Skellig Moor.
Dingle was once cited as the most beautiful place on earth by the National Geographic, and is home to Fungi, the dolphin. Oh, and Ryan's daughter was filmed here. Once again, B&B was easy to find, giving us time to visit the bay, soak up some sun, and sample a few more pints of Guinness. As we took in the atmosphere, it was apparent some of us were having a little too much fun.
Nice and wet now.
Day 6, and time to catch up with our plans. Next stop is Ballyvaughan, but not before we take on the Connor Pass in all its glory.
Now the ferry boats are gone from the breast of the Anna Liffey, and the ferryman.
The Connor Pass is the highest mountain pass in Ireland and provides the most dramatic and scenic way of leaving Dingle.
And Molly, it was part of you and me. Where the strawberry beds sweep down to the Liffey, and the wish away the worry from my brow.
Much like the Ring of Kerry, this is not a road to test your skills at speed. It's narrow, winding, with many passing points, but still a joy to ride.
The only life I knew, it was hard but never lonely. The ferry boats made a man of me. Oh, but Molly, it's all over, forgotten even now. Oh, it's over, Molly, over, can't you see?
Leaving Dingle behind, the Cahar Pass takes us up over the Dingle Peninsula in Slieve Mish Mountains, towards Tralee Bay.
I love you all today, and I love you more
As we head out from the Connor Pass, we make our way north, through Tralee, to the Shannon Ferry. A 20-minute ride on the Shannon Ferry will save us time not having to ride round the Shannon estuary. It means missing out the city of Limerick, but saves us 2 hours. Our destination was Galway, but we wanted to avoid staying in the cities, so on the other side we paused for a quick brew and set off for the hour-and-a-half ride to Ballyvaughan, an hour short of Galway. On day 7 we head off for Dublin and our last overnight stop. There's no avoiding motorways sometimes, so we say farewell to the Wild Atlantic Way and hello to the painfully straight M6.
Tell me, Ma, when I go home, that the boys won't leave the girls alone. Pull me hair and stole me comb, but that's alright till I go home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is the belle of a Belfast city. She goes a court and 1, 2, 3. Please don't
We'd pre-booked a night in the Temple Bar Hotel, where we met up with Colin's daughter, the delightful Katie.
knock on the door and the ring on the bell.
The ancient Viking kingdom of Dublin rests at the mouth of the River Liffey and has been Ireland's capital since the partition in 1922.
She doesn't get the fella with the robe and right. Tell me, Ma, when I go home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. Pull me hair and stole me comb, but that's alright till I go home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is the belle of a Belfast.
It's the home of Guinness, and it's where we get to sample it the way it's supposed to be, untravelled and poured slowly. Temple Bar is a popular place. Named after its founder, Sir William Temple, it's home to the famous Temple Bar pub. It boasts 450 whiskies and bourbons, and it would be nice to sample them all. But with over 250 miles of motorcycling to do tomorrow, it's not recommended. Day 8 and our final day of the island adventure. A 2-hour ferry ride from Dublin to Holyhead and then the long track home.
We are going away from the holy ground and the girls we love.
To say the island adventure has been fantastic is an understatement. 1,300 miles of beautiful sunshine and 25 degrees heat. We couldn't have chosen a better time to go. For me, it would have been nice to finish the ride actually on my bike, but 150 miles from home on the M6, my chain snapped, and despite my best efforts, the ROC would not let me sit on the bike while they towed us home. This adventure was all about good company, good food, and good weather. The Irish people are without doubt some of the friendliest, most helpful people I've met, and they helped make this journey. But we went to Ireland for the roads, scenery, and to soak up the culture. The Wild Atlantic Way gave us the roads, the scenery, and guided us to beautiful towns that welcomed us with open arms.
You're the girl I do.